Nintendo Land. No, not Nintendo World, the theme park, but Nintendo Land, the Wii U game. This must be where Miyamoto lives. Hey, stupid! Why did you cast Chris Pratt for the Mario movie? So, weather update for the new viewers. It's raining. Also, I'm playing all of the Minigames. And next in line is Nintendo Land. I want to take a look at how well Nintendo Land knows its source material, but I think first we have to know what it is. The Wii U era. Love it or hate it, this was the time where Nintendo really wanted to cross-establish fan bases between their franchises. Which is funny because they didn't release a mainline title on the Wii U for most of the major Nintendo franchises that represented here. Animal Crossing? Nope. Metroid? Nope. Mario? Nope. Wait, maybe? Does a new Super 3D World count? What's considered the mainline for Mario? Either way, all their consoles in 64 had a major platformer collectathon Mario game except the Wii U, so I'll say nope. Luigi's Mansion? Nope. Zelda? So, Breath of the Wild did come out on Wii U, but they did wait till they could release a Switch version to put this one out. So if you consider this a Wii U game, yeah. If you don't, nope. Pikmin? Yeah. Pikmin 3. So all things considered, 2 out of 6. I'd say that's a pretty bad score. Oh, if only they counted Yoshi as a big thing. Yoshi got Woolly World on the Wii U.
It's a double Yoshi explosion!
Do I even need to tell you why this game failed? Like, I'm pretty sure any video about the Wii U starts with a long-ass monologue about why this piece of garbage was a piece of garbage. Though I think it does its dust collecting job really well. Ha, that's a Roomba. Wrong picture, sorry. So this game sold really well for the Wii U, being the top 5 bestseller in the system and also the only one that didn't get a port or a sequel on the Switch. Get out of here, Wind Waker, you're already a port! So, video game! Let's talk about it! The world of Nintendo Land is this theme park-inspired plaza managed by your darling here, Monita. Her name is just a pun on a Japanese person trying to say monitor, and yet I still love her. You watch her go, and she instantly improves every minigame by 27 points. That's very specific. I really like this plaza place. However, why does the time of the system not change the lighting and skybox of the park? And a button does. Yeah, otherwise this place is straightforward, but also super memorable. Not only will it change as you play the games because it works as the main hub to place all of the rewards you'll get, but it eventually becomes super lively and full of me's wandering around. Me versus dead. Still, really cool. Everything is interactive and has a Monita description, and you can also do the spin and get dizzy. I hate this method of looking around. It's cool, but it makes my footage look like dizzy. Look at those gunners. The main part of the game is the minigames though. There's 12 of them. This game was clearly aiming for that Wii Sports charm, and I think it far surpasses it. But the bat down, you know I'm right. Like, one of the main complaints that I had with a lot of the other games like this one was how repetitive or limited they were. How the design of most things in those games would heavily hinge on the issues of the Wii and motion controls as the entire basis for the difficulty of the game, which, like, you're blaming the control scheme on the challenge of the game. Thankfully, this game has very little of that. Instead, these games are extensive and unique. The challenge is properly designed, the incentive for playing is way cooler, and it still works as a sweet party game to disrespect AAA batteries. Have you seen all those videos about Woohoo's island potential? Yeah, this is that potential, brought to life, but it's just not on Woohoo. So most videos on this game now would go on about each of the attractions, say the same 5 things about them, maybe make a funny joke. Now I don't want to do that, that's boring, except for the jokes part, I just suck at that part. Let's instead check how they compare to the original counterparts. How's that sound? So, there's these 3 games, Hey look, the video in which I was forced to play a party game with no friends because I don't even have a cope in regards to having no friends. So I can't cover these games well. I mean, I try to, but I guess controlling the Wii U gamepad and the Wii mode at the same time is just sad. I'm gonna get these out of the way first. Okay, now that I handled the tiers, let's handle the games. Mario Chase. Tag on Wii U. The Mario can't jump, but the Toads sure as hell can. That's a lot of nuts! The scenarios and music are inspired on classic Mario stuff, and I do think it looks super nice, but the gameplay could have been done with any other franchise. Mario can grab the star power up in the middle and be invincible for a bit, which is a good reference, but the only other Mario-based mechanic I can think of is the Mario player having a minimap, like in Mario 64 DS, which is not really a main mechanic. I'd say a 4 out of 10 when it comes to pairings. Animal Crossing, Sweet Day-O. The sequel to Tag, aka Cops and Robbers. The O in the name isn't actually there, it just looks like that. I like both of the maps in this game, as they look a lot like Animal Crossing towns, which I guess I love enough to possibly maybe make my entire thesis project based on Animal Crossing town generations. So the robbers will play on the Wii mode as villagers Daisy, Peanut, Lily, or Tangy, while the chasers will play as both Copper and Booker at the same time. If you don't know who Booker and Copper are and like Animal Crossing, you made a mistake in life. Robbers will attempt to fill these candy collection spots with candy, while cops only really have to catch any of them 3 times. It's not as Animal Crossing as the new Leaf Island minigames, but I think it's fitting enough. The trees, bushes, and other decorative elements are neat references to Animal Crossing New Leaf. I like the inclusion of things like the fountain and Nook's Cranny, as well as a bit of iconic furniture. Such a shame it only has 2 maps, because they really could have crammed a lot more references and characters into this. 7 out of 10. Luigi's Ghost Mansion. In Bear's Pac-Man. It's like Pac-Man, but it's 4 players versus a ghost instead of 4 ghosts versus a player. In this game, you play as ghost hunters or as the ghost, where the ghost wants to catch the players and the players want to suck off the ghost. The catch is that players can't always see the ghost. They have to use the Wiimote's rumble to figure out their proximity with the ghost. I always hear people with friends say how good this game is, to which I just respond with very quiet envy because I can't even ask them to be my friend. This game has occasional thunder to reveal the ghost, like the thunder you'd see in Luigi's Mansion. Hunters need to blow 100 health of the ghost to win, like in Luigi's Mansion with the portrait ghost. The designs of the playable characters are quite good, with the Mario Brothers, Wario Brothers, and the GameCube era Mansion ghosts. Yeah, they're basic, but I still like them. And the stages take a lot of inspiration from actual Luigi's Mansion 1. For example, this main map here has recreations of the foyer, some hallways, the first floor bathroom, and the dining room, all of which are really accurate to their origin game counterparts. The billiards room and kitchen are also here, though not as accurately recreated. But then the other maps do have references, like there's a map with the roof where the final boss of Luigi's Mansion 1 takes place. And I'd like to shun the factory map because it does not look like EGAT slab and it really should. When the human players lose, a good night text appears too, mimicking Luigi's Mansion dead screens. With good sound design and remixes of the Luigi's Mansion soundtrack, this is a definite 10 out of 10. Makes me want to try to actually play the game with my friends, which I have. Promise I do. Octopus Dance. Just Dance Wii. So you Clinton's lines.
They didn't know that this game is actually a reference to the game Unwatch.
And that's fair. The only indicator here is this octopus guy, as well as the music, which I have to admit is absolutely bopping. Yeah, this game is weird. It's kinda simple, gets difficult. Most of the time my success state was interpreted as a failure state and I couldn't figure out exactly why, but you just have to follow the rhythm of this weird snorkel man. It's super basic in both gameplay and game and watch parity, so maybe a 3 out of 10. Ninja Castle. No, not this again! And I thought I was free of point and shoot games. They get progressively worse. Wii plays, simple but good, had some cute moments. Wii play motions, okay buddy, these twists and turns are making me nothing but dizzy and my back hurts. This one, you have to hold the Wii U gamepad like a hold for shurikens. And I, a grown-ass bunny man, ended with my wrist in massive pain from carrying the Wii U gamepad like this. This thingy is heavy, and I can't tell what makes my shuriken shoot faster or better. This minigame is based on the mysterious Murasame castle. I like seeing Nintendo pay attention to one of their most obscure hits, but they did a pretty bad job at telling people that the original exists with this. There's not enough iconography to go off on, and the game hasn't had a sequel since its release in 1986, so it's not easy to figure it out. They should totally make a Zelda-inspired game with this IP. It's referenced all the time in Nintendo stuff, and I cannot see why it hasn't come back. There's a lot of references to the original though. You go into a castle, play as a Shoryuken maniac, and you attack ninjas. Yeah, no, that's all I need. Maybe they should have added more emphasis on the player character. The outfit Yomi shows briefly when selecting this game and the background are the only indicators we non-Ramenites would be able to recognize of this, making this a missed chance for marketing. Oh well, there I go doing Nintendo's job again. 9 out of 10. Captain Falcon's Twister Race. F-Zero, more like F. Damn, I look good as Captain Falcon. Anyways, Falcon! This is F-Zero inspired, alright. You get tons of turns and visuals, but the mechanics are really not in on it. In this game, you must twist the gamepad around like a monkey to make your in-game machine rotate around obstacles before a time limit runs out. Why can't I accelerate? This game is so damn slow. Like, if you've ever played F-Zero, you know part of the fun isn't the range speed you'll be plastic about. If you have a time limit, then you should also have the ability of speeding up and slowing down. You know F-Zero tracks a boost pads at the edges, which give you an advantage at the cost of taking in tons of risk? Why is that core mechanic not represented? It would improve the game and be a nice reference. Why is it Falcon only? Couldn't you at least let female Mies dress as Kate? It's as sad and painful as everything related to F-Zero's state as a Nintendo IP. It is good to see it is still a thing, but why is it not a thing? Brain broke. 5 out of 10. Pikmin Adventure. Thank God Pikmin can die. In this game, you play as a big Pikmin or as Olimar, yet I feel like the Olimar player is bound to have a lot more fun since they can just swoop the Pikmin. So you go through some linear action stages, beat the boss, go to the next level. For all intents and purposes, this minigame is just a watered down version of Pikmin. The designs are based on Pikmin, the gameplay mechanics are those of Pikmin, but without Pikmin death. Like, you can throw your Pikmin and have them stay, you can call all of your Pikmin back, you can use your Pikmin to attack, and the Pikmin will carry stuff to you. I dislike that you can get a hammer power up but you can't get stone Pikmin, but I suppose it makes sense because there was no Pikmin tree at the time of this release. The Mario iconography is totally out of place, but the rest of the visuals and enemies are very reminiscent of Pikmin. Plus, Monita got a hat and became evil. Why does it take me a whole plot change to become evil? Screw it, I'm joining her. I give this game a 0 out of 10, but actually a 9 out of 10. Balloon Trip Breeze, it's that mobile game again.
Do you like floating balls of hydrogen?
In this game, you swipe the touchscreen to blow yourself into the right position. Whoa. In this game, you swipe the touchscreen to blow air that will push you to the right position. It's based on Balloon Fight. The tutorial happens in the Balloon Fight stage layout. Nate looks adorable in the Balloon Fight outfit. Look at me! And the gameplay is very similar too. You float, you pop the balloons, except now it's an auto-scroller, which is sucks. While the game is not very good, I got bored of it really quickly. The parity with the original is super easy to achieve, so it's at least an 8 out of 10. The Legend of Zelda Battle Quest. Wii Sports Resort Swordplay, but they took out the lightsabers. Okay, that second subtitle I added might be discrediting. While the main gameplay mechanic with the sword is just like the one in Wii Sports Resort Swordplay, the enemies and locations are all new. There's different enemies to keep you on your toes, there's Zelda-like puzzles, and since you're expected to take more damage, health is replaceable. There's also a whole new way of playing with the gamepad as an archer. There's a plethora of Zelda enemies that have been recreated as cardboard crafts, from moblins to choo-choos to tektites. There's a ton of iconography from Zelda, and it's no doubt that they were clear inspiration from it in the way the enemies behave and the way you behave, you know? The gameplay is, of course, not exactly like Zelda. It's a railroad shooter, which technically makes this into a House of the Dead plagiarism piece. There are puzzles in the design, blocking at the right time is important, and you can charge the Master Sword to do Link's spin attacks. For what it's worth, there are people who prefer this one single minigame over the entirety of Twilight Sword on the Wii. So yeah, another 10 out of 10 when it comes to being similar to the original source media. All the details and recreations are super accurate and nifty, there's good fan service, and the gameplay is a good midpoint between actual Zelda and a minigame in a minigame collection. Hey, what are you doing watching without being subscribed? Hit the button, hit the button, hit the button. Okay, I guess I'm going to continue now. Yoshi's Fruit Gardo. And his name is Yoshi! I hate this Yoshi. Like, I already don't jive with Yoshi, unless it's Bashi, but this Yoshi son of a gun is in another level. This game is simple. You ride a Yoshi, pound Yoshi. You draw a line, Yoshi would follow that line. Collect the fruit to open the door and exit to win. The challenge, you can't see the fruit in the bottom screen, so you gotta coordinate. So there's fruit and there's Yoshi, but I couldn't see any eggs or Yoshi related mechanics. It's too superficially about Yoshi, and even though I don't like the dude, this is a disservice to him. 2 out of 10. Are Yoshi's canonically asexual? I don't know why I suddenly wondered about Yoshi's biology. I guess I mentioned the X thing, called it a dude, which sparked a question, and now I won't be able to sleep until I figure it out. Tangent, what about Birdo? DK's Crash Course. Theater targets all over again, please and help. Yeah, remember that Theater Targets game on Wii Play Motion? The one I spent like 7 hours on? Well, another motion-controlled minigame to consume my soul has appeared. Luckily, I was able to fend off the demon this time. So it goes back very directly to the original DK arcade game. There's barrels for the DK, Proto Peach is in it, tons of DK-inspired scaffolding, and there's 2 whole boards that end in the popular layouts of the classical arcade experience. A suppose you play as the barrels, which is a pretty cool detail, but it seems very general to me. I couldn't spot any references to anything about DK that was specific enough to truly tell if they paid attention to the source material enough. Yes, it's a reference to the original arcade game, but nothing else, and I would like to see more DK in my DK game. Another 8 out of 10. Metroid Blast! Fire! 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 Laser! Shoot! Is this it? The final game I'll play in this entire journey, where I point at stuff and shoot it? And it's the best one yet? Like, I'm not joking when I say this game is really good. In fact, I don't joke at all. My real name is Cyrus McGee. In this game, you'll play as Samus, get on a ship and pew 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 away your life's problems. I really like the different enemies you find in this game. Some are harmless, some shoot at you, some have tons of weapons to murder you in cold blood with. They are even modeled after the Sebaceous from Metroid. What do you mean Sebaceans? No, it's clearly Sebaceous. As well as others. There's gotta be Metroids in Metroid. It's really smooth to control the gamepad version, though I wish you could configure the sensitivity of the mode version. Yet since you have free movement and can dodge easily, it's much better. I did make the mistake of trying to dodge constantly using the C button, it just feels more natural to me, but I definitely think that the Wii mode version was created exclusively for the multiplayer where the handicap was sort of part of the gameplay mechanic. The maps and models all really do look like something out of Metroid, and quite a bunch of stages have classic Metroid elements, of course. That's when you pass them through a few classes and turn them into mechanical beings. But I still think it's a really cool recreation of things you see in Metroid with a new art style and a new thematic. Plus, it's natural for the Metroid to be a shoot game. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it's a 9 out of 10. Mostly because I can't believe Zero Suit Nate does not have the correct volume. This is a disrespect to me. Ridley is just too big. And then as I sat there wondering what I would write for this video with my morning coffee, I started to ponder. Is this the best me-based minigame compilation Nintendo has ever put out? And that's when I realized it's a post-2011 release, quite possibly the first Era 2 me-game title. I like to divide me-games in 3 separate eras. The first one from 2006 to 2011, the second one from 2011 to 2020, and Era 3 is 2020 onwards. And I can most confidently say the second era games are most often the best. It includes some games that collect more than just mini-games, and others where the Miis are used interestingly, like Tomodachi Life and Miitopia. The latter two actually being some of the best titles on the 3DS. Era 2 was a weird moment for Mii games, like they didn't exactly know what they wanted to do with Miis now that they have aged and Nintendo wanted to transition back into Mario being the main Nintendo mascot. Mii Maker features started becoming repetitive to consumers and the APIs that would implement them into games had lost fidelity. I think there was a moment where they started to notice that Miis were not just a player avatar anymore, but rather they had become part of the Nintendo brand. Relegating their usage to playable characters disregarded all the chances they had for using role-related elements with them. That's a really important part of what was missing, and thus, the second era of Mii games were born, with stories, dialogues, mechanics, and a lot more things that surpasses the scope of minigame games. Even if Nintendo Land was released before most of the games it was trying to help market did, it's obviously intended to make this title represent what the Nintendo brand was. They discreetly marketed games that were soon to release, like we just mentioned Dark Moon. They teased Mario 3D Land, they teased Animal Crossing New Leaf. I mean, they even teased Metroid Prime 4 and it still has not come out. However, if there was one franchise they attempted to market with this game without us really noticing, it's the Mii franchise. Again, it's unnoticeable because of how implemented the Nintendo brand was with Miis. After all, they have appeared in dozens of games in dozens of IPs. The Miis are the ultimate Nintendo mascot. They just didn't want the Miis to be Nintendo's mascot. Which means Era 2 of the Mii games had a singular goal: make the Miis from a mascot into a franchise. I believe this era marks the separation between the Mii series games and what I call Mii games. And I couldn't think of a better game to start it off with. Actually, I can think of one which released earlier. It just hadn't become the better game at this point in time. So will you let me keep the cartridge? It was my ramen that I bought last video. It makes sense I should keep it. I made this whole video to show my dedication. Please, Taisho, I really had to cover this game. Does that mean yes in Taisho? Yes! But man, what a good game this is to start a new era of Mii games.
Crazy to think this era went somewhere and nowhere at the same time. Anyways, did you know that right now you're part of the elite 8% of people who actually stay to the ending of YouTube videos? You're like a unicorn.